Robin. Your favourite jersey, number 10 at Arsenal or number 20 at Man United?
I have to make a decision.
I hope so, Robin.
Yeah.
And Persie trying to whip it. Wonderful goal for Arsenal. A touch of genius from Arsenal's main man again.
Persie! The man for the big occasion beats United at Champions League.
I will go for 20 because that story has more impact.
Football has a way of producing moments that feel less like sport and more like a cruel Greek tragedy. But even by those standards, April 28, 2013 was different. The air around the Emirates Stadium didn't feel like a standard match day. It felt heavy. It felt like a funeral for a relationship that has ended in a messy public divorce. For 8 years, Robin van Persie was the heartbeat of Arsenal Football Club. He was the captain who carried a transitioning team on his back, the man who turned half chances into thunderbolts. But on this day, he wasn't wearing red and white. He was wearing the chevron of Manchester United. And he wasn't just coming back as a rival, he was coming back as a champion. To understand the vitriol in the stands, we have to go back to the summer of 2012. Arsenal fans were used to losing stars. Henry, Fabregas, Nasri, but Van Persie felt personal. In July, he released a statement on his own website, an unprecedented move, stating he wouldn't extend his contract because he disagreed with the club's direction. He famously said,
"I'm proud to be here and I am looking forward to achieve big things with Manchester United."
The little boy inside me was screaming for Manchester United. For the Arsenal faithful, that wasn't just a transfer. It was a character assassination of the club that had stuck by him through years of recurring injuries. Sir Alex Ferguson pounced, paid £24 million, and the rest was history. By the time United arrived at the Emirates in April, the league title was already wrapped up. Robin's goal against Aston Villa a few days prior had sealed it. The little boy was now a king, and Arsenal were required by the laws of the game to bow. Then came the moment that remains one of the most awkward images in Premier League history: the Guard of Honor. Tradition dictates that when you face the newly crowned champions, you line up and applaud them onto the pitch. For the Arsenal players, this was a psychological gauntlet. Look at the footage. Look at the face of Mikel Arteta, Theo Walcott, and Bakary Sagna. These were men who had shared a dressing room with Robin just a month earlier. Now, they had to stand in two lines and clap as he walked past them. Robin emerged at the back of the United line. He looked focused, almost robotic, trying to maintain a business-as-usual expression, while 60,000 people showered him with a wall of boos so loud it distorted the television microphones. It was the ultimate humiliation for Arsene Wenger, his greatest student, returning home to be honored for leaving him. When the whistle blew, the tension exploded. Within 2 minutes, the Emirates erupted. Theo Walcott, the man many hoped would fill the RVP void, scored to put Arsenal 1-0 up. For a brief window, it felt like justice might be served, but football is rarely that kind. As the first half drew to a close, a lapse in concentration changed everything. Bakary Sagna, under pressure, played a loose pass across his own half. Van Persie, with that predatory instinct Arsenal fans knew all too well, intercepted it. Sagna lunged in, a desperate, mistimed tackle. Penalty. The script was almost too perfect to be true. Robin van Persie stood over the ball at the clock end. The noise was deafening. Every soul in the stadium wanted him to miss. He did not. He smashed it into the roof of the net, past Wojciech Szczesny. The celebration, or the haunting lack of one, was the final twist. He didn't gloat. He didn't sprint toward the roaring away end. Instead, he simply retraced his steps to the center circle, hands raised in a muted apology. To the neutrals, it looked like a gesture of respect. To the Arsenal fans, however, that silence felt louder than any shout, the ultimate called "I Told You So." The match ended 1-1, but the score was a footnote. The real story was the shift in the hierarchy of English football. That point for United meant very little, but the symbolic victory for Van Persie was absolute. He had left to win the league, and he had done it in his first attempt, scoring against his former club in their own backyard while they clapped him onto the pitch. Years later, Arsene Wenger would describe the sell as painful, admitting that he had essentially handed the title to Ferguson on a silver platter. Robin van Persie's return to the Emirates wasn't just a football match, it was a cold reminder of a period where Arsenal's ambition was dwarfed by their rivals. For United, it was the perfect swan song for Sir Alex Ferguson. For Arsenal, it was a scar that took nearly a decade to stop stinging. Today, RVP's legacy remains divided, a legend of the game, undoubtedly. But in North London, he remains the man who asked the little boy for advice, and in doing so, broke a million hearts.